All right, y'all, welcome to this week's episode of Music in the Minor League. This week we're joined by Afton Wolfe, who is a singer-songwriter performer from East Nashville, Tennessee. He reached out to us after checking out the podcast, man. We were happy to talk to him. Turns out we knew a lot of the same people. He's played some of the venues we have, man, so it was really cool to get to catch up with him and talk about music, baseball, the world, you know, all sorts of crazy stuff, man. It really turned out to be a good conversation. We know you'll really enjoy it. So before we get to everything, first off, as always, if you like the podcast, please tell some friends about it, post it. Helps us get the word out. It helps us do what we came to do, promote people like Afton and everybody else involved in the music scene, man. All these indie musicians out making things happen and really making some great music, man. It really helps to get the word out, so we appreciate y'all taking the time to do that. Two, just like Afton, man, if you listen to the podcast and you're in a band or you're a musician, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. It's what we're here to do, man. Try to provide some promotional support for people out there making good music, man. So let's get to it. Now for housekeeping, unfortunately, Afton just finished his East Coast tour tonight and doesn't really have anything in the books, but you know, he's going to hit the road soon. He's always playing around Nashville. Check out the events page on his website, aftonwolfe.com. It'll be in the notes for the episode, and go check him out. As for us, well, we're going to be hitting the road again in August. On August 3rd, we'll be down in Galveston at the Old Quarter. We'll be playing with Brent Best, who you may recognize from Slobberbone, The Drams, his solo record, Your Dog Champ. Like, great stuff. We're really honored to get the chance to play with him, man. If you're around the area, we'd love to see you. You're going to love this show. It's going to be a great one. Then on August 10th, we'll be heading up to Nacogdoches for a night of music at Fredonia Brewing Company. Great place. They always take really good care of us. And when we say really good care, like above and beyond, like last year when it was hot, they built us like an umbrella fort, brought out heaters during the winter. Like, they really do go above and beyond, man. If every venue acted like them, man, this whole game would be a lot easier. Then Kim and I are going to be doing a duo tour to close out August. On August 23rd, we'll be at Neverending Books in New Haven, Connecticut with Matt Nielsen, who you're going to hear on the next episode, and Owen McMahon. On the 24th of August, we'll be at Midway Cafe in Boston, Massachusetts. We don't have the lineup for that one yet, but hopefully by next episode we will. On August 25th, we're going to be at Hotel Vernon in Worcester, Massachusetts, and that's going to be with the Moon Raccoons. That's a 4 p.m. start since it's a Sunday. On August 27th, we'll be at Strange Brew Pub in Norwich, Connecticut. We'll be their featured open mic artist. We'll be doing like a set right in the middle. Then on August 30th, we'll be at Skew Bar and Lounge in Providence, Rhode Island. That's going to be a great show. We're going to be there with the High Water Haulers and Win and the White Light. Then we're going to head down to New Jersey. We'll be at Ventnor Coffee. Right now it's just us, but there could be some other folks added. We'll let you know if that happens. Then on September 1st, we'll be at Lucky Penny House Concert Series. That's in Washington, D.C., man. Paul runs a great thing there. Played there back in my solo days. Like, it's really a great little event he puts on right in the heart of Washington, D.C. If you're in the area, hit us up or find Lucky Penny House Concerts on Facebook and get a hold of them about getting in on the show, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then we're heading back to Houston, and that Thursday after the tour, we'll be at Union Tavern with Grifters and Chills, part of their new concert series they're doing there. Thursday night, like happy hour show. That'll be 7 to 9 p.m. It'll be us and them. And then there's other shows, they'll come later, man. We're not worried about that now. You've listened long enough. So, all right, let's get to the episode, man. This is Afton Wolfe from his 23 EP. This is called So Purple, man. Catch you on the other side later.
Red and blue, just simple
All right, y'all, welcome to this week's episode of Music in the Minor League. Today we're here with Afton Wolfe from Nashville, Tennessee, or more specific, East Nashville, Tennessee. Knowing folks from the east side of Nashville is important to differentiate. It's kind of like Memphis, West Memphis, but a little more high class. All right. Well, man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for hitting us up about doing the interview, man. I've been listening to your music. We've been digging it. And like a lot of the names that pop up, like Tommy Womack, we're big fans of them. Like loved him and Will Kimbrough. Daddy was a big Todd Snyder fan when they were the Nervous Wrecks for him. And, you know, big fan of that.
That's the time, yeah. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, man, that was cool. So I was like going through, I was like, all right, man, like this dude obviously has good taste. Checked out the music, man. Really dig it. You know, it's one of those things where I saw you put up. That's what I was looking over. If, you know, you might like is like, well, you said we were doing the Tom Waits deal. I was like, that makes sense. Yeah. And then it's like Mark Lanigan. I was like, I see that too.
Yeah, big fans of both of those. You know, I mean, when I was a kid, I really liked like Springsteen. I mean, I still like all these people, but like my early stuff, I was just drawn to like Springsteen and Joe Cocker and Greg Allman and guys with that kind of rough, raspy, you know, sound, that quality of their vocals. I don't know why, but so I started, you know, singing like that. And then when I was in high school, because I could kind of do that with my voice, I got asked to sing in a lot of like metal and grunge and punk bands, you know, because I could shout that out, and then kind of backed out and was playing in what I guess would now be called Americana. Back then we called it something much more offensive, but and I was doing the songs, and some guy was like, "You must like Tom Waits." And I was like, "I have no idea who that is." And he gave me Rain Dogs. And 5 years later, my voice is really just a medical condition more than a stylistic choice. But yeah.
It is, man. It's one of those things that, like, I don't know, Tom Waits record is one of those things that everyone kind of remembers. The first person who's like, dude, you should check this out. I'm like, I thought that dude was an actor, man. And I was like, no, dude, you should check this out. He does music on the side. And I was like, it's a weird side hustle.
Yeah, no, his movies are amazing too. He's done some good ones. Nothing beats the Iggy Pop scene in Coffee and Cigarettes, though.
Oh, I love it. I reference that all the time. Like, you know, we both quit smoking so we can have a cigarette. It's like,
quit. So we can have one. Yeah.
Right, it's not a big deal. Oh, man. So I do know you're from Mississippi. So what led you up into the Nashville, actually the eastern part of Nashville?
Well, I moved up to Nashville in 2003 because of, you know, I was in a band down there, and when it blew up, all the members couldn't still be in the same town anymore. So I took the high road and got up to Nashville. You know, I was 20. I mean, it was 2003, so I was 25. I had pretty much a Kanye syndrome where I thought I was the most important voice that had ever made music at that point. So that leads to pretty quick disenfranchisement. But yeah, no. So I was here until about 2013, playing music, tending bar, drinking lots, and then came back in 2017. But yeah, and then East Nashville, you know, I mean, when I moved away in 2013, it was just starting to become a place where people went to more often. You know, there were like 2 venues, lots of cool poor people, but, you know, not really much of a music scene. And I didn't really know as many of those cool poor people as I do this time back in East Nashville. But yeah.
Yeah, even the people I knew that lived there, like we used to be back in the day pretty good friends with Otis Gibbs before he kind of like ascended into the gods. And then, but the same thing, like he even said, people played in Nashville, but like there wasn't really places to play. Like East Nashville's where we escape everything, you know, we get, there's no real venues.
And it still is that to a point. There's just more venues to escape to, you know. I mean, there used to be the 5 Spot, the Slow Bar, and that was pretty much it. I guess Foo Bar down Gallatin was starting to get some people, but I mean, the place it's at now still has its issues with the traffic in the neighborhood sometimes, but it did a lot more back then. But yeah, there was only those 2, maybe 3 venues back then. Now there's like 12, so you still get to escape over here. The traffic's still better than West Nashville. You just got a lot more options.
Nice.
Yeah. Hopefully,
I try to look at it positively. There's a lot of people that want people off their lawns in this town, and I'm pretty grateful to be here. But you just got to recognize Nashville for what it is, you know. And it's an outpost. It's not. It's a crossroads, but there's not much here other than the fact that it's where a lot of people are intersecting.
Yeah, man.
So
that's like,
if people get on your nerves, then you're in the wrong spot, because that's the only good part about it.
well, that's like living in Austin, LA, or New York. I mean, it's the same thing. It's a you know, it's the give and take, right? Like it's nice to have people come to you. You know, if you're in Nashville, anyone can come through that door at any moment in time. But it's also the fact that everyone comes through there, and so it's like that whole everyone can play great steel guitar in Nashville. That's why they're in Nashville.
That's why they're here.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool, and it's one of those. It's nice to have the option to go there, but it's also nice to be able to walk away and go to East Nashville and be out of it a little more too, which is kind of nice.
Right. Oh, and it's necessary to get all the way out of even East Nashville too. You know, I mean, because again, I mean, I think of I get real wooey about like, you know, the spirit world and stuff like that, and I think that it kind of travels on the physical plane, but it ain't in Nashville, right? I mean, it's, if you got any gold from the spirit world, you brought it here. You know, you didn't dig it up here. You came with it from somewhere else, and that's great. You know, there's a lot of it here, but it all came from the rivers and the mountains and stuff. You know,
right.
This is just
But it's got to help, man, to be. It's got to help to be exposed to like that much music. You know, you're surrounded by people. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're surrounded by a lot of people doing, you know, what's the formulaic music thing. But there's a bunch of badass singer-songwriters who come through that area, and people that have to like, well, I need to, like, there's a nugget to take. Like that's.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. You can find it. It's dropping out of people's pockets all over town. You gotta set yourself rules, because there's some dangers of getting too much. Right. You know, I mean, you can get overexposed. I never see that Nashville ABC show stuff. I never, you know, I mean, not like as a, you know, some kind of conviction. It just doesn't really appeal to me. And I don't ever find myself doing the Music Row or downtown stuff. You know, I mean, I just have no interest in seeing stuff that doesn't really, to me, contain any information. Right. Because I want information from my music. I want to see something I didn't expect. Otherwise, I mean, I can just think about things I expect, you know, whatever.
Right.
But, you know, no, there's some incredible songwriters. And even then, you know, you got to be careful. Like, I let myself go to 2 shows a week in Nashville because there's too many to go to every night. There's some of my favorite people playing 4 times a week, friends and people I really admire and people that need the support. And I say, nope, you got to do 2 times a week, because you either get overloaded and, you know, I mean, supply and demand does work on that basic level with yourself, right? The more I go see it, the less psyched I get about it. And then 2, like, the people are so good in this town that if you go out every night, you are going to be riddled with imposter syndrome, and you are going to need to practice. And I don't want to practice, and I like the way I feel about it. So I just take the night off, you know. Right. Don't think about it.
It's balance. I mean, just balancing things.
Well, you know, you can't go out and have like the best food every night. You'll end up thinking that it becomes normal. So, you know, you got to give yourself a little space.
Or you'll get gout, which is even worse.
I guess like writer's block is the gout of the musician, of the songwriter.
There it is.
That's it, man. Yeah. Imposter syndrome induced writer block is like foie gras induced gout.
Exactly.
Basically the same thing.
Look, we're solving the world's problems right now, guys.
Oh my.
I mean, goose torture is my favorite genre of Americana, subgenre of Americana music.
I do love that you took it to food, my friend.
Look, this body was not built on diets.
I always think about that, because anytime I argue with people and I try to, you know, like, oh, you're like a music snob. It's like, yeah, but what are you really into? You know, it's like, you know, if I asked you, like Kim's friend Susan's huge into that. She's always like,
oh yeah, she loves food.
If you say like Olive, like, oh, why don't we go to Olive Garden?
Because when you're here, you're family.
And she's just like, if you have a gutter palate, we could go there.
Oh.
But then it's also like, have you heard this new like insert like shitty band that I don't like? And it's like, yeah, dude. So you like the McDonald's equivalent of
like the McDonald's of music?
Wait, she likes the Olive Garden of music,
right? And I'm like, I want the whatever insert nice the Uchi or whatever for Houston reference of music. That's what I want.
Yum,
I want the urchin.
I want the tamales that are in the gas station outside of the Greenville, Mississippi highway equivalent of music.
There you go.
I want the lady who comes to the bar late at night with the dozen tamales, like in the hot container. Those hit.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
That's how you know it was a good night.
Well, it's the dude who comes to, there's this bar we play, Union Tavern, and I forget, every time we play there, like at 1 a.m., this dude shows up like, hey man, I got barbecue sandwiches. I think he works for one of the good barbecue places, and they're always like the best. Even the nights when I didn't drink like 13 beers, they're still really good on a 2-beer night.
That's the metric.
The 10-beer night.
You know?
I'm not an alcoholic. I didn't drink a 12-pack.
Right.
That's it.
You know, but it's important, man. So the point is, you know, it's a good way I always put it. There's things that everyone's into, and it's like, no, this is something where I want the quality.
Right.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I don't. You know, I've got friends that are really picky about their mayonnaises, and I give them that. But I don't really care about that, you know. But they also listen to Chili Peppers, so it's like, okay, you know, you got your mayonnaise, I got, you know.
Ooh, are we allowed to talk about the Chili Peppers right now?
I got my Costello.
Their guitar player, their former touring guitar players, got charges for running over somebody.
Oh, wow.
Yikes.
Yeah, y'all didn't hear about that? Man, it's all over the news.
Which one? No, man, I know.
Klingenhofer.
I just like, I mean, at this point in my life, dude, once like 93 ended, I was once Dave Navarro got in, even my high school MTV watching sales, like I'm out. Eject.
I liked that album. The One Hot Minute album, I thought was a really good album because it was something different. It didn't feel like I was just ripping off Parliament Funkadelic.
I mean, I really just, they were a band that I just didn't really get into.
I just used him as an example of one of the many bands that I just don't feel, you know. I mean, and I'm totally fine to admit that, like, I don't get it or whatever. But that at the core of it, I mean, some of it's obviously trash. And we won't get into what is just obviously and objectively trash. But at the core of any of it, it's just, how does it make you feel, right? And I don't know. It's like some things, you know, like the food analogy again. Lots of people like McDonald's. I don't make it good. And usually if you eat enough of it, you're not going to feel very good after a while.
Did you see that? We derailed the train, and then Afton brought it right back.
Dude, he's good.
Well, no, I was watching this week's episode of
Just getting really hungry. I'm kidding.
Of Your Favorite Band Sucks. They were talking about that. Like, if everyone likes it, it's objectively bad. Like,
there's no doubt about that.
Nothing that everyone enjoys is good. And it was like, exactly. You know, it's like, it's not.
It is
flavorless. If it's at that level of popularity, especially now with all the information out there, then it's either so focused grouped that anybody that's really looking for authenticity is never going to be able to find it there. I mean, and, you know, the younger generation wants that stuff more than I even remember us one that, you know, because that's still like the lo-fi and stuff like that. But you can't get somebody that's young to listen to blues music unless you're like playing it through like a car stereo in a junkyard. You know, I mean, it can't go viral just playing through a Fender tube amp. You know, and that's not going to do it for them.
Right, different clientele now.
Yeah, I mean, they would have loved Daniel Johnston back in his thing, but now it's a little kitsch to him. I don't know. I got my nieces. She's 7 years old. She loves Daniel Johnston. So, you know, we're bringing them up smart.
There's hope for the future right there.
Amen, baby.
Well, that's kind of the weird thing, though. I know from even with like my son and his friends and stuff, they listen to a lot of stuff that like we listen to, like parent stuff, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had classic radio on, but I was also like, what's happening now? Like, what can I find now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still that way, but it's like what's happening today?
Yeah, but maybe if you'd grown up with that overload of music like he did, like everything was available at once, you might have just listened to what your parents listened to.
True, because I would imagine for kids it's very overwhelming. Because like my son's 15 and he gravitates to what I listen to a lot because I think he's so inundated with music all the time. He doesn't know what good is and what's not.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with hundreds of records in my house, so it wasn't like there was like one record. And I was like, I'm gonna find something besides this.
Yeah, but I mean, even 100 records, I mean, I think for me, I'm 45, 46 this year. So I don't know how close to that you guys are, and nobody has to confess anything. But I do think that, like, I feel grateful that like the peak of my musical thirst in my teens and early 20s, the size of the universe was really perfect, right? Like going into a music store, having a couple of little magazines I could look at. But if I had the Spotify, you know, if I had the iTunes, I mean, just literally hundreds of thousands of songs, I don't know what I'd be listening to. You know, I mean, now I've built my own direction over time, but it definitely would have been different then. You know, I mean, with all the options, maybe it would have been better. Maybe I would have just kept going in that, you know, because I had an exploratory kind of instinct, but I also, you know, I mean, you know, I listened to whatever made me feel good, and sometimes that was on the radio, you know.
Yeah, man, I think you hit on something there, man. It's like the scope of what we were exposed to was so finite in comparison to what they're listening to now. Oh, yeah, and then
but you had to put in some effort, and you could go find something new, and then it was rewarding because you put in that effort.
Yeah, like,
right. I think I'd feel the same way about Morphine if I just found them on Spotify. Like, I had to find those dudes. I heard one song, and then like 6 months later, I finally got the guy at Sound Shop to get the damn, you know, CD in there, you know. Yeah. And I wore it out, and now I understand why they're the greatest band ever. I might not have understood that if I could have just been like, click, next, click, shuffle, you know. Yeah.
That's funny. That's how I found Morphine too. Is a friend of mine put them on a mixtape. Yes, kids, back in the day, we used to make mixtapes for each other.
They make playlists now. It's the same
thing. And I was like, what is this? Is that a fucking saxophone? What is going on here? And it was just like, this is amazing. And it was just one of those things like, then I had to like find it all. I was like, okay, I got to find this stuff, you know? And then, you know, that was part of the joy too, is the exploration and finding things. You know, I had a buddy who was really into the Smashing Pumpkins, and he would have just bootleg upon bootleg. And I'm like, this is some of the coolest stuff that you'll never hear because they didn't record it, or they did it a certain way at this one show in Chicago in 1995. You know, and it's like that's the cool stuff. Like, I feel bad because they get all the exposure to all the different stuff, but they don't get that joy of finding it. It's already been served up to them.
Exactly.
You know, they're the product at this point. They're being fed this because you are the product.
Well, I mean, I woke up, you know, MTV. That's how I found out about Morphine. Is one of the times leaving MTV on, woke up at like 2 a.m. to 120 minutes, and it was like, oh, this is cool, man. What is that? And then found it, you know, got the big book of everything at, what was it, Sam Goody, and I was like, get me this. Yep. I didn't know which album I was. Like, The Cure for Pain one sounds cool.
Great album.
So, you know, I mean, it was still there. It was the media gave it to us, man. You know.
But yeah, I just
now it's just the media just dumps a bucket on you instead of just like, here's your drop of water.
Use this app,
right?
And then figure out what music you like, and then make your own playlist. Like, that would be super intimidating to me, even though I would have tried to do it.
Right.
I think now the hard part is like the haystack is infinitely larger, exponentially larger than it used to be for us. It's like because now anyone can release anything.
But there's a good thing and a bad thing to that too, right? I mean, it's so much easier for an independent artist to spread their music around, but like you say, I mean, there's a part of us that kind of wants to identify with that critic that would kind of like let that cream rise to the top, but then so much nepotism and cronyism comes into play there.
Right.
You know, it's just tough.
It's a business.
It's why nobody can really like break through into like a cultural moment unless they are just so bland and, you know, focus grouped that they can appeal to enough people to fill that bottom line of the spreadsheet. Yeah, which is why people got to stop playing music for money, you know? I mean, you got to stop expecting.
And then on the flip side of that, though, you know, you have anomalies come out like Tyler Childers, like that dude, like he's on a whole other level, and I would venture to say he's just as popular in some circles like Taylor Swift. I mean, there are people that like he's selling out shows everywhere, and it's like if you look at what he's doing, he's not doing the mainstream thing. He's staying. I feel like he stayed pretty true to what he is, and it's just like, what the hell? So maybe that is kind of our cultural change there, you know, because he puts out a song last year that the song is great, then the video comes out and it creates this whole stir because it's, you know, a love story between two men, and you know, you got people who are like, I like this song until it had a visual to, you know, and it's like, well, but it didn't change the song. Like, that's just how he put it out there. You can interpret it how you want. And so I think it's good that we still have artists like that who aren't so, like you said, focus group to death, that they're going to play it safe, and, you know, they're only going to put out exactly what's good now, and no opinion. It's just, like you said, bland. So
yeah, well, I mean, and I don't think that, you know, the most popular artist that I find to be really formulaic but I don't think that they're necessarily doing that from like a cynical standpoint. I imagine that there's somebody on their team that's rather cynical, because otherwise they would, do what's best for everybody and, go get a job at a toll booth. But, I don't think that they're doing it in any kind of bad faith or whatever. It's just, again, McDonald's sells billions of hamburgers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I eat a McDonald's hamburger occasionally. Sometimes I shake my butt to a Taylor Swift song in the Kroger. I don't know.
Yeah.
We just, my thing is, like, I always go back to, and I'm big on this, and I force them to listen to books and things like that on tour.
What an asshole.
I still follow the whole, like, I think the best way for music now is it has really kind of moved to what I'd call like the late 70s, early 80s, like punk model. You really have to create a community in your own networks to kind of make people pay attention, because you can't come out, because so many people are just doing stuff by themselves in their bedroom and never perform, never do anything. And they're just like, well, I'm being creative, which is fine. But the way you're going to get anyone to pay attention or kind of buy into the art you're making is creating a community around it and creating networks around the country. We're like, okay, like, we'll help you. And that's what we've been trying to do. It's part of one of the main parts of this podcast, was just to like talk to people who we felt were worthwhile, and people who are out doing stuff, because our only real prerequisite is you have something released into the world. You're out doing stuff. It's just like, yo, man, this is my SoundCloud. I made 2 songs, and it's like,
that's not something.
Come back in a month, go play a show.
Yeah, you got to be playing shows, man. I mean, I don't judge anybody that's not playing shows. I mean, just for me, like, that's what matters, right? Like, my favorite part of doing this, and I don't know what makes me do this or not, but because it's certainly not the money. Like I said, it's either a mental illness or an ancient sacred calling. But my favorite part of it is the connection with the people I'm playing music with on stage. And my second favorite part of that is my connection with the people whose eyes and physical wavelengths I am connecting with while my music is coming out of my physical form. Like, that's beautiful. And I don't care if that's to 2 people. It's better when it's more, but it can be to 2 people. I'm fine. Yep. I like being in the studio and everything, but I don't get those connections there. The studio and recording and releasing, like, I feel like I do that for people in some like vain hope that I can connect with people in hundreds of years.
Right.
But when I'm trying to connect with people right now, I want to do it in the same room, Yeah. Otherwise, I release some music, I let it out, let the professionals deal with it. I understand the economics with it. And the most painful part of this entire journey is when you put out recorded music and you sit around waiting for people to give a shit about it, because it ain't never going to happen. Just start making something else and go play some more shows.
Right.
To make the records for people 200 years from now.
Right. Exactly. I hope people are listening to this part. This part of it does make sense. It's like,
it's the Mike Watt thing, dude. They're all just flyers for the gig. Like, none of the songs are, and they're not even, I don't know. I like recording and stuff. It's fun, but to me, it's perfect. It's not real. It's like the airbrushed photo of the song. Come see it live, because it could get fucking weird.
Oh yeah.
And things could go sideways. It become like this really human moment.
Or like Sam might give you a really interesting intro into a song where it's like a pick your own adventure. Like, is it about a woman coming home to like confront her husband about this
an affair,
or
is it about a threesome because she thinks that that the other girl will be what she wants more than the man? So we have those kind of things that we talk about in our songs, and you get to choose on this one.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's what makes it art, is the fact that the listener can interpret it any way they want to. If you're trying to get something right out of it,
Sam likes to plant those seeds.
Yeah. Well, if you're trying to elicit a very specific reaction from somebody, or a specific interpretation at least, then that's a craft, as opposed to maybe an art where like people can interpret it different ways. And there's craftsmen and there's artists, and there's some that are just one, some that are just the other. I think most of them are kind of in between, but it's what part of your art is a craft, what part of your art is an art, and why are you doing it? Like, those are the questions I'm constantly asking myself, because it doesn't make any damn sense on paper, which makes me believe that there's more to life than what's on paper.
I agree with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've never had just me personally, I've never had the thought that, man, what I'm going to do is going to make me popular and make me a bunch of money. I was always It's funny. I was looking at that when you had the Mark Langdon thing. Like, until I saw Screaming Trees, I was like, well, I'm a little fat kid. Like, I'm never going to be in a big rock band. And then it was like, well, the Connor brothers are rocking.
Wait, dude, have you not seen the band Mountain?
That's true. Leslie West. Well, no, I'd heard Mountain Man, but, until YouTube came along, I didn't get a lot of footage of Mountain. It was a little before my time.
He was a fat dude with a fro and a gold tooth. Come on, man.
Same thing. Like, I didn't get to see the MC5 until like later, really what they look like. And it was just like, oh shit, Rob Tyner was not a beautiful man, but he rocked. Like, he had a voice that just killed. So, it's that whole thing. Like, when you're a kid, you don't know. When MTV came out, no one was putting Leslie West, Rob Tyner, and shit, Christopher Cross got kicked out of popular music because he was a little chubby guy. So it was like, well, okay.
I saw a meme the other day with two Christopher Cross pictures right next to each other where it said he was the only guy that looked like both members of Tenacious D.
Yes, I saw that today.
And it's true. And it was like, and that's why he didn't get...
I think it was a conspiracy against him because he wore that Houston Oilers jersey in that one video. Yeah,
maybe.
I think the industry was against him after
Houston
that.
haters.
Bunch of haters.
I doubt it.
The anti-Warren Moon cabal.
It's what it is. We all know.
Made a lot of enemies in the South.
Earl Campbell haters.
I mean, he was the one that, he was the running quarterback, which became just a racist euphemism.
For a long time there, yeah.
Wow. Randall, what was it? Who? Randall Cobb?
Randall Cunningham.
Cunningham. Thank you.
There was a Randall Cobb that was a running back. Randall Cunningham was the Eagles
running back. Yeah. That was the one I always played with Randall Cunningham on the early, I think it's like the 93 Madden game. You could just do the sweep, load all your receivers to one side, and then bootleg to the other side with Cunningham. Nobody could ever catch him.
Every time. Dang.
I was a huge fan of him, yeah.
Old school video games. Gotta love them.
So how do you guys feel about the Texans? Y'all football fans? I'm not a big NFL fan. I'm just curious.
I like the Texans. It's funny because my sister's boyfriend, his brother is a former Texan. So I have that connection now. So I have to watch what I say sometimes.
Sure.
But no, I've been a fan. I think the team could be run better. I think our owners.
Yeah, that's the impression that I get.
Yeah, it's one of those things like just because you're born rich doesn't mean you're smart.
Yeah,
that could go so far in our society if people realize that.
I agree, but
I feel like the Saints. I was a Saints fan, and I mean I still am. Like as far as I guess more like culturally than in practice. But I was at my peak of drinking and NFL fandom when they won the Super Bowl. Oh, wow. And it was like this really nice moment of closure where I was able to kind of evaluate my life decisions, how much money I'd spent that playoff season, how many times I'd nearly died. And we had won the ring. So it was like, I'm going to take the next season off. And I really hadn't gotten back into it since. I think it's been really good for me.
Dude, it's like getting Wordle on the first try. Once you've done that, you're done. There's no more.
Yeah, I'm not going to get addicted to this. I've always been more of a baseball fan anyway. So.
Same here.
See, I'm a baseball guy. And even that though, man, once the Astros won that first World Series, I was expecting to feel way more inside.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, well, saw that happen. But I still love the game. So, I don't feel any less happy or more happy when I'm at any game. I can go see any team now. I'm like, the Astros won a World Series. I saw what I needed to see.
Yeah.
And now I can go enjoy any game anywhere. It's just a beautiful game. I love it.
Well, exactly. I could watch a 0-0 game between two teams. I don't care about going to the 15th inning. I love watching great pitching. I love watching a pitcher just tear people apart. And also as a Braves fan, in addition to loving that and being a child of the 90s, that's where my love for great pitching and understanding of it, I think, came from. But, I also can't put much stock in winning the World Series. We went to the playoffs. We won the freaking 14 years in a row and won one World Series. So, it's a regular season game for me anyway.
I mean, the Braves were damn close to being like the Buffalo Bills of the MLB.
Oh, yeah.
And then they got that one. I was like, okay, there we go.
Good.
And what's crazy is that 95 Indians team was easily the best team we played in that stretch. In those 14 years, that was the best team. I mean, their lineup was insane. Pitching staff was crazy. No, I mean that was the team. I mean that was the team we shouldn't have beat. the rest of them were all just kind of like, just our offense couldn't bring anything together in the playoffs ever during the 90s. But it was all these 1-0, 2-1 games, just over and over again.
We can relate.
But did you guys have the first time you make it to the World Series? Did you get smoked in 4 games by a pitcher named Bobby Jinx? Because we did. That was embarrassing.
Oh, that was the year we finally got past the Braves.
Yeah,
man.
we finally beat them.
We did it. Well, once we took the Braves down, it's like, it's over. We got this. The White Sox suck.
And that is the time, Look, if you pop champagne once after a 162-game season, you did it. You did your job. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's rarely the best team that wins the playoffs. Rarely.
Of course, it's the hottest bullpen. That's what I've deduced. The hottest bullpen going into the playoffs is going to have the best chances.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Good pitching's going to hold back the good hitting for the first 6 innings, and then if the bullpen can't get it together, they're going to get shit beat out of them at the end of the game. That's the way almost every one of the playoff games happens. Walks a rally, you get some rookie, middle reliever in there, then you're done.
Yeah, so
just like in hockey. I don't know anything about hockey except when I was bartending downtown Nashville, it paid a lot of my power bills. And I'm from Mississippi. We didn't have any hockey there. I thought Wayne Gretzky was a comedian until I was like 14 years old because he was on Saturday Night Live. But no, I've heard that said about them, right? Hot goalie, right, is the most important thing going into the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I watched, man, that was when the Stars came to Dallas. It was like, oh, dude, hockey. And then that fell off once I got into college. I was like,
Well, we had the Arrows here for a while, the minor league team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Minor league hockey fun, yeah.
I just couldn't get, I got invested into minor league baseball, but minor league hockey was like,
Yeah, minor league baseball is fun. Like, you guys, I went to my first minor league game, the Amarillo Sod Poodles.
Yeah.
And that was just a fun experience, man. I'd never been to, I've been to college games and stuff, but never been to a minor league game. And it was like, dude, this is cool. These are guys like hustling. Like, these guys won.
No, nobody's playing harder than dudes in the minor league.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're like, please get me to the majors. Give me
Dudes
that
are
payday.
baroque, and they're hanging on by a thread. Yeah.
I want that health insurance.
Such a good analogy.
That's why Bull Durham's the best baseball movie. Baseball's got the greatest movies ever made of any sport, and a few just in the top ones, but that's why I put Bull Durham on top. That vibe of minor league baseball, like the desperation and the drama there,
Yeah.
And Susan Sarandon at her peak. But yeah.
That's probably why a lot of musicians, I feel like, love baseball, and especially are always like, yeah, man, I can go to a bunch of minor league stuff because it's relatable. It's like
cheap.
We're throwing it all down.
I probably watch 150 or so pro games a year watching baseball. I love the view from behind the pitcher. When I go to baseball games, I tend to just walk around and kind of absorb the atmosphere. And that's like, we got the sounds here in Nashville, and like me and my friends will say, because there's a bar out in the outfield where you can watch whatever you want to. They got pro games on the TV, and then you're right, 10, 12 rows back from the right field wall. And it's like, it's just the coolest bar in town with a $9 cover, and there's a baseball game going on,
Just so
Nice.
happens.
So
That
happens.
sounds fun. I like it.
And it's a AAA team too, so you get some like famous people doing injury stints and stuff. You get surprised by just there's Matt Chapman, playing third base with these scrubs or something. It's like, yeah, that's cool.
Hell yeah, man.
That's cool. Because we got the Skeeters, which are now the Space Cowboys, but
I like the Skeeters better.
Skeeters was way better. But even when they were the Skeeters, like, it was where you went when you were like 31 and the Astros cut you, but you're almost good enough to go back to the MLB, but not quite. And you get all these killer players to come in, and then it would be, all right, they got called back up. Or
Yeah. No, well, that's it, right? You can't. Well, that's the thing with minor league baseball is, help yourself rooting for the team to win or lose, but it's hard to really count on that. What you're really looking for is like, you just got to watch the hustle, because the hustle is incredible. But the team winning or losing, there could be a whole new 9 players the next day.
Right.
it was, I think the saddest moment for Kim and I on tour was we used to go, or the minor league game too, is for like 3 years in a row, we ended up having a day off in Montgomery, Alabama. So we went to a Biscuits game, and the same pitcher was in the bullpen all 3 years. And it was just kind of like,
Like no one's told you yet.
It's just that's the worst place to be. It's like I'm good enough to stay like in double A. Like they still have hope, but I'm not moving either way. I'm not going to triple A. I'm not dropping to single, but I'm just like
going down to single A. Got no use for him there.
Yes.
Well, he's probably a Crash Davis type character. He's probably in there to be the stable pony for the bonus babies coming up through the system, kind of show them what's in and out, teach them how to tip their waitresses and stay out of fights at bars and stuff like that.
I'm just hoping he got like a coach.
You get to keep going to the baseball park and keep getting paid to do it.
Right. I'm saying I hope he got a little bit of a coach's check in there too. Like here's like a little extra dollars.
Here's your $500 a week.
Well, that's in the old school it was like that. Like that was what managers would do at the end of their kind of playing careers, is they'd go down to the minors. Like, okay, I'm interested in being a manager, so I'll go down to the minors and play with some young kids and, kind of show the organization that I can provide value and like that kind of role. Get on as a coach, get on as a manager, bench coach, something like that. Now it's all like sabermetrics and stuff, which is, again, it's just Moneyball.
I'm glad
it's
getting. That's why I'm glad we have like the pitch clock. Man, I know what anyone's. I'm pro pitch clock. I'm pro. You can only go to the mound like a couple times an inning, because it was getting bad where it was like 2 pitches thrown next, like within like the same batter almost. Like next bullpen person, this guy's got a slider that'll get that 3rd strike, so we're gonna bring him.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I like the 3 batter minimum. I don't mind that rule so much. I think the pitch clock is just a little too objective, because most of the delay in the at bat was always coming from the batters anyway. Nomar Garcia-Parra with his freaking gloves and these guys that'll get out there and take 19 practice swings or whatever. But then to put a pitcher in a position where he's got to pitch in 20 seconds, 1, I think it's leading to more arm injuries, and 2, I just don't think it should be such a bright line rule. I think most of the situations can be handled by the ump behind the plate saying, get back in the batter's box, because most of the time the pitcher's ready before the batter anyway. But there are times when there's 2 people on and there's 2 outs, you got to give the pitcher a couple of seconds. If he's getting shelled around the field, you got to give him more than 25 seconds to kind of regroup himself and throw the pitch. I don't know. I like speeding up the game, but I also think that if you didn't like a 3.5 hour baseball game, you might not like a 3-hour game either. And I definitely absolutely loathe the automatic intentional walk. I hate the automatic intentional walk.
Yeah.
And
I think you should have to throw.
DH. I think the 2 of the most beautiful moments in sports are when a pitcher like Bartolo Colon hits a home run, and I think the other one is when some pitcher gets lazy, throwing an intentional walk, and a Miguel Cabrera hits a double off of him. Yeah. And I didn't think, John Lester had to throw his whole freaking glove over to first base. It's not a gimme that he's going to throw 4 balls to the right spot with a guy on base, because intentional walks don't happen when the bases are empty. Somebody's on base.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I can screed about this for a long time.
But for me, man, it was just from being in Houston, we had a lot of, I used to call them the Dewey Coxes of pitching. They had to think about their whole life between every pitch. They like walk off the mound, stand there and look around the ballpark for like, dude, it's been a minute.
Right.
This dude's been just staring off.
Someone had to come out like Mitch McConnell, like, hey bud, let's go ahead and get started.
I think there needs to be an umpire discretion and a directive to umpires to keep the game moving, and I think that, maybe even like if it's been 20 seconds or what the umpire judges might be a delay, then he like raises a hand and a 20-second clock comes up there, right? Like, get your ass on the mound. Now you got 20 seconds to throw the ball.
I think that's cool.
Something like that. I think there's an in-between, right? Yeah. I'm fine with keeping the pace going, but, I don't want to lose baseball in the midst of it. And I do think it's hurting pitchers' arms, the one-size-fits-all pitch clock.
See, I think that's still coming from, I remember being a kid, even in high school, getting frowned upon for throwing breaking pitches. And then, now it's like, oh, you're 8 years old? Where's your slider? Where's your curveball? It's like, no wonder kids are blowing their elbows out.
Well, there's no doubt that, there's no doubt that the training is coming in, is not doing well. They're trying to they're trying to maximize velocity, and they think that like minimizing reps is going to do that, and it's not going to. Like, you can't have high school kids trying to break into the 90s. They don't need to be doing that. They need to be working on fastball location, fastball location, fastball location.
I know. I mean, being a Braves fan, you know how location's everything, man.
Yeah.
Greg Maddux threw a 77 pitch complete game. That's insane.
That's impressive as hell.
Yeah.
A 2 hour, 5 minute game. He didn't need no pitch clock.
Right. He's like, let's go. I got shit to do. Okay.
Well, it's just having that ability to be like, this is where the ball's gonna go.
Right. He's just telling the kids, like, put your glove right there. I'm gonna just put it there. I'm gonna hit it. So.
There's so many great stories about Mad Dog. Like, we some buddies of mine when I was bartending, they had the Braves alumni golf thing here. We paid. We went and did it. And we got to meet Otis Nixon, and we were sitting at a table with Otis Nixon. Nobody asked him about the crack, but but we were getting some Greg Maddux stories out of him, and he would, he's just like, he'd just be sitting there like reading a book in the dugout, and it didn't even look like he was watching the game, and he would look over at a dude, and he'd be like, you better watch out, foul ball's about to hit right there. And they'd look at him, what the hell are you talking about? Seriously, 10 seconds later, ball comes whizzing in, like right where the dude was sitting, Just, he was a wizard. Mark Grace tells a really foul story that I'm not going to retell, but you should look up Mark Grace's crazy story about Greg Maddux. Everybody listening to that.
Oh man, Mark Grace was like a stand-up comedian. Like, that dude's stories, you were just like, oh god.
Yeah,
like a dark stand-up comedian.
Swing though, that smooth lefty single swing.
I had cable as a kid. WGN let me watch all those games.
Hell
so
yeah.
So we were talking about everybody knows the Braves and the Cubs.
Right.
And it was like TBS and WGN.
Dunston, Ryan Sandberg, Andre Dawson.
Oh, but also being a Houston fan, like when you'd go to an Astros game and they were playing the Cubs, there was just as many Cubs fans in Houston as there were Houston fans.
Yes, people were, and plus, like during the summer, man, the Cubs were the best because I could watch the Cubs game because they were all day games, the home ones, and then go to Little League practice, fired up,
stoked, ready to
go. And if
go.
you didn't have Little League practice, then the Braves game was coming on. No, I mean,
yeah, we used to love it. I remember, what was it, man? Something. It was like a big Ozzie Smith game there. The Cubs were playing the Cardinals. I remember all of us out there trying to do like this crazy diving catch, like hurting ourselves. Like, coach shows up. What the hell are y'all doing? It's like, we're trying to do the Ozzie Smith thing. He's like, you aren't Ozzie Smith.
You're not Ozzie Smith. No.
Like, all right, thanks.
Oh my.
All right, man. So we know you like baseball.
A little bit.
So looking through, man, like I said, get back to a little bit of the music stuff. You talk about finding music, but you're pretty prolific, man. You had like 2 full releases last year.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was a 5-song release and then a 7-song release. So I don't know. I mean, for me, the social media thing feels kind of weird unless I actually have something going on. So I do like the whole waterfalling out of singles and things like that. Like, I released 2 songs in mid 2022 and 2 songs in later 2022. I like to think it was like digital 45s or whatever, a B-side or something.
7 inches, yeah.
Yeah. And then when I've got a little weird superstitious or Jungian synchronicity type thing with the number 23. So when I found out that Friday, February 3rd, 2023, and everybody releases their music on Friday, I kind of took that as a sign that I needed a release then. And I had one song that I put a lot into called Cry, that I took the other 4 songs that I had released earlier the year before and put those on an EP. So there's a little bit more of an illusion there than, shoveling it out quite as much. I do think that I'm relatively prolific as compared to a lot of other people. That's more because I'm stir crazy. And then the one that came out in November is actually a collection of my father-in-law's songs, The Harvest, which was kind of a fun project to do a little ass kissing and brown nosing. But he's also a really great songwriter. And his, he had done his songs. The only way I'd ever heard him was just, kind of him on an acoustic. And he's an incredibly prolific songwriter, but he's not doing it to release songs and stuff. He's significantly older than me, and I just loved his songs. And like I say, I'm really popular with the in-laws now, but I took him into the studio and kind of put my own feel to him and some more instrumentation and kind of felt him out the way I would, and that was a really fun project to do. So yeah, those were the two that came out last year.
Oh, right on, man. Well, get a little head. Got anything you got working on now to come out, or?
Well, I've got a little one-off single that is coming out in August. Do you guys know Jamie Harris? She's out of Waco, lives in Austin and Nashville.
Yeah. She plays her and
Mary.
Yeah, I'm like Mary. Yeah, they play the Old Quarter a lot. So we're familiar with them. Yeah.
So Jamie is a friend and a very sweet person, and we're both nerds, and we kind of connected on our nerdiness. And I invited her. I was doing. I like to throw these fun parties. There's a lot of these fun parties that have been popping up in Nashville. Tribute shows and things like that. I say yes to any one of them. I don't care who it is. My favorite one was, other than the Tom Waits one we do every year, which is just dear to my heart and, going to be extremely special this year for a tough reason. But I did one, somebody was throwing a Queens of the Stone Age one, and I straight up begged my way onto that. I had no business. I didn't know anybody doing it. I was like, please let me pretend to be Mark Lanigan, and I got to, and I kicked ass. But yeah, that was fun. I said yes to the Widespread Panic one a little too quickly, but it was still fun. Anyway, we did a Lebowski Fest because the Lebowski Fest in Louisville's kind of dissolved, and apparently nobody cares about the trademark. I don't know. But I was asked to kind of lead the band, Jackie and the Treehorns, we called it. And basically the whole thing was we did 9 songs from the soundtrack. I mean, you can guess which 9. And I got Jamie to do Dead Flowers with me, and it was really fun doing that as a duet with her. And I was like, maybe I can get her when she's in town and we can go in the studio and record it and see what it's like. And we did, and she's fucking amazing. So it's really good. And we're releasing that in August with a video, a little duet her and I do.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, that's going to kick ass.
Yeah.
That's a popular one.
Love that Towns version. And when Jamie and I did it, kind of our voices, I really liked the way it sounded with her beautiful, perfect, sweet, powerful voice and my medical condition. It's a nice juxtaposition.
We were talking about that song a couple weeks ago that everyone, when they do down at the Old Quarter down here, they do the Towns Wake every year. And how many people do that song? It's like, man, that's not a Towns song, right?
Hey, look, he made it better. I mean, look, grateful to the Stones, and I'm a huge Stones fan. I'm going out on tour and starting tomorrow, actually Wednesday really, but we kick it off here in Nashville tomorrow. But and I tend to always put a Stones cover in my set, but Towns' version is better. The Stones version of that song sounds like a toothpaste commercial compared to Towns' version. The lyrics are so sad and they just sound so goofy and happy singing them compared to Towns. So mine and Jamie's version kind of leans into that and I take a couple of little counterpoints to try to make it even more sad during the heroin scene in the song. So
yes. Yeah, I know you got kind of the whole thing going, man. I know you did the Faces cover with Carrie Hudson, so it's well,
that's what I figure. Every couple of years, just do some layup of a cover that people can't even deny because it's an awesome song.
Yeah,
I didn't intend to do that, but now it's happened for 2 years later. So for 2026, I'm thinking Bop. I don't know, do it with do that duet with somebody that's out of my league again.
that would be great
if I can get Jelly Roll to do Bop with me.
Did Peg Around Music Row.
Didn't John Calvin Abney go on tour with them, with Hanson?
Yeah, he opened for Hanson. Yeah,
so I'd like to hear how he feels about Bop at this point. I've just been time on the road and hearing that every night.
Well, it's cool that those kids kept going.
They're not kids.
They're grinders, man. No,
I know,
they're
grinders.
I think.
I guess
I know a lot of people in town that know them, and they are grinders, and they get a lot of respect from folks because it would be pretty easy to just duck into used car sales after that, and change your name and grow a goatee and stuff. But they're out there.
It's just dude, we're still making music.
They like playing music, which is pretty cool.
What I dig is I've heard their most recent incarnation of that song, and they've done a good job of updating it, keeping it still. Right. It's a pop song, but they do a really good job of modernizing it more for obviously.
I also feel like it was a great song as the people who made it. It wasn't like they were here's a grizzled 40-year-old man. I wrote this song for my boy band. bands. Like, it was a bunch of young
Right.
kids. I mean, the frightening thing about most of these pop hits you hear is like a 40, 50-year-old dude.
Some Harvey Weinstein dude, like writing it at a,
Right. Find me some femboys to sing this. And then bring them to my office once they're done. And you're just like, oh, God, okay, that's the music industry. This was actually kids just making kid songs. So
no, it's like someone caught it and was like, that sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It wouldn't have been authentic if somebody would have tried to write that like a 98 Degrees song or whatever, just there was an authenticity to it, and
the fact that the chorus is literally mbop, like, and people are like, what does that mean? And like, I don't know, we were kids, we were like, we wanted to make something funny. It was
it's catchy, man.
And the fact that they still play it is the best part, because as we know, there are some bands who like loathe their one hit and will refuse to play it, and I'm like, man, if that paid your bills, you need to play that song. I don't care.
If you're still out there.
1,500 people paid their $25 to hear that song, to sit through the other 15 songs you're going to play.
And they don't even
care.
33 people came to this state fair.
Right.
And they don't even care if you rearrange it or, make it something different. They
Mexican
just want to hear it.
They got out of line for corn dogs to come see you play.
You're telling me Styx isn't going to do Mr. Roboto?
That is not Styx then, sir. That is Stux.
This dude has been standing in the front of this field, in front of the stage, for 45 minutes, and all he wants to hear is, I don't want to lose your love. Just say it to him, dude.
Just do it. Get out there. Let's do this. Get that paper.
I think that's people got burned so often. I know from stuff with our city has bands come in, that there have been with certain times where it's been like in the contract, like this song must be performed, or there's a significant cut in pay.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think that's a reasonable clause.
Yeah.
Right. You must do you can't show up and do we're doing all the deep album cuts here at the county fair.
Spinal Tap fusion jazz set at the water park.
Well, that's recently there was these series of posts about Creed, because this girl's like, I went to go see Creed. Well, what she didn't realize is she was going to see Scott Stapp, and he doesn't play any Creed songs, like the entire set.
Was it billed as Creed or was it billed as Scott Stapp?
I need to look and see, because that would be really funny. But he did not do any Creed songs, and people were just like, well, what is this crap? And in between songs, he's talking oh, this is my new single, and everyone's like, oh God, no, we want to hear with arms wide open.
Are you taking me higher?
It doesn't really go as well with the Smirnoff Ice, the stuff he's doing now, does it?
Right.
Big mistake coming to this place. See this guy.
There's nothing better than icing somebody to win with arms wide open, or Can You Take Me Higher? Either one.
It works. It's a solid icing every time.
Perfect icing songs.
I mean, that's the guitar riff makes it, man. So I guess you can't really do it without March Monty.
Well, then I found out recently that the way he tunes his guitar, it makes the riff that much easier to play.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I didn't know that. My goofy ass is trying to learn it in standard tuning. Like, man, this is really impressive. And then it's like, oh wait, he tunes this. Oh, that's all one finger.
Work smarter, not harder, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
too smart for my own good.
So, you're from Mississippi. How did you get into music as a kid or as a young adult?
Church, like so many other people. My first memory of ever, everybody has like these Polaroid memories. Well, my earliest one was me being on stage at church with my mom, like for some Christmas special, and I was like this little parrot. It was some convoluted story about parrots and Christmas or something, like Noah's Ark crashed into the manger. So I don't know. I don't remember the whole plot, but I do remember the moment of me and my mom being on stage together and like singing like a duet. I was like 4 years old.
Aww.
I don't know. Maybe it was a positive reinforcement from that night that like set the programming off or something. But, and then I don't know. I mean, I think that area, I think the Mississippi River and the Piney Woods and stuff, like it is a portal, like country music with Jimmy Rogers coming from Meridian and beating the girls to Bristol by 2 days. for the first country music record ever. The Hattiesburg having some of the earliest rock and roll, Clarksdale coming, where the blues is from, New Orleans, which is, as we say, the biggest city in Mississippi. Two biggest cities in Mississippi are New Orleans and Memphis. But it is. I mean, there's a gravity down there, and and I think that if you get a little bit curious about it, there's a lot of rich discovery down there you can do. And I fell in love with like crackly old recordings that sounded like ghosts, those old. I was in Meridian, Mississippi, in elementary school, and we would go to Jimmy Rogers Museum, which is all on a train, because he was the singing brakeman. And we would go through there and we would listen to all those crackly old recordings, and I just loved them. And then my grandparents and my parents are all from Greenville, which is really close to Clarksdale. And my granddad would take me to Clarksdale and take me to other places, and he kind of showed me and taught me a little bit about the blues and what that meant. And his wife was kind of a racist, so we had to keep that between us. But yeah,
that's awesome.
There's a lot of rich stuff down there. And then in the 90s, grunge music was awesome, and I lived at Sound Shop and Camelot Records. I took days off of school to buy Pearl Jam records when they came out.
Wow.
I was there.
Oh yeah, I remember doing the run. I remember digging my mom's record player out of like mothballs because Vitology came out early on vinyl.
Oh yeah, it did.
Came out like a month early. Yeah, it was just like, dude, we got to get this now.
There's no way my parents would have let me do that. Nope.
I remember that summer I got that record and then went off to my divorced dad custody summer camp, and that record over and over again. It was like the second summer that I had a guitar too, so I just knew every lick. It was just so good.
See, I didn't get a guitar until I got really into like hardcore and stuff like that, so I never developed any killer licks. It was like, dude, play bar chords really fast. Let's do it. And now it's the same thing, but it's like play open chords really fast. So.
Well, that was I loved that about guitar was, the voicings. That was my parents my mom especially, I grew up with her, and, a lot of my music came from her record collection, sitting crisscross applesauce in my room with big headphones and the curly cord plugged into the stereo, listening to those vinyls. But the Beatles were a big influence on her, and therefore a big influence on me, and like learning those songs and the way that he played within those chords and stuff, the way McCartney and Lennon and Harrison, all three of them did, they would do so many cool voicings with the chords. And I was also a big Lemonheads fan, and Evan Dando is really, really good about that too, like the open chords and the different suspensions and, walking in between the chords and stuff. And for that kind of music, I know there are people that are better than that, like Bach and stuff, but I'm just saying for like what I was listening to, like that was big for me. I think that kind of pushed me into a songwritery direction more than a rock and roll-y direction at that earlier of an age. And Pearl Jam was really good about that too. Vitology is a perfect example of a lot of really cool chord progressions that don't make any sense until you hear them a couple of times.
Yeah. Nah, it's really cool, man. Stone Gossard always was really cool. Came up with really cool progressions and riffs. Like I was always a big fan of his.
For sure. Yeah. And that record and No Code, I think, were kind of the peak of that. I'm a big fan of everything they've done, but I really think, it comes up in waves and goes down. I think Vitology and No Code were a really, really special time for them as writers. So.
See, and I gravitated a lot more. I love Pearl Jam, but I got a lot of Mudhoney records because I could play along to those.
Oh, Mudhoney, yeah. Mudhoney's a different thing, right? That's a punch in the face. Mudhoney is just like kicking, it's a drive.
But now I remember sitting around like figuring out the riff to ones that do the evolution and stuff from Pearl Jam. I was like, this is great. This is the coolest riff ever. And then it's like, what about the other stuff? Like, that's hard. It's like, my buddy David can play that stuff. It takes moving your fingers a lot. No way.
And just for the audience, this is why I'm so quiet, because I was at home playing my Casio keyboard, trying to figure out the melody to the theme from An Officer and a Gentleman.
Ooh, that's a good song, though.
So
that's a good song.
Damn.
I was not there until that I didn't discover until later in life, how good a song Officer and Gentleman was.
Well, my parents were very religious, and so like anything that was involved with a movie or a play or anything that was safe. So can listen to that kind of stuff.
So your parents were cool with Deborah Winger. That's good. That's good.
I mean, it was a rated R movie.
Here? I got no place else to go.
Oh, I've never seen the movie.
What the hell?
I was not allowed to watch the movie.
Oh, no, the movie was, a little racy.
Yeah, it was rated R.
I was going to say the movie, like, Mama. Well, Mama don't know.
This is why I'm quiet.
I fell in love with Deborah Winger when I was a kid watching Legal Eagles.
Oh, yeah. She's good in that.
Yeah, that was the one that I was like, oh my God, like, who's this? I'm only like 8, but there's something about her that's different than my mom.
Wow.
My first Wilma Flintstone.
Oh.
Not ashamed to admit it.
I was more of a Betty boy.
Yeah, I'm a raven-haired
I like the brunettes, man. Also, I feel like I could take Barney if I had to. Like,
Sure.
Fred looked pretty stocky. Like, he probably,
Barney if
He was, but he was obviously a klutz, you know. I mean, you don't have to be too quick.
True.
You know, look, all the animals could talk, right? Like, I just never understood, like, why they wouldn't just, like, converse with the animals more often. There was so much animal slavery, but the animals could talk. It was crazy. No, I didn't like it. That was
well, and like they stayed in their place too. They're animals. They're not locked in the place. Like they're not chained. Like the one that was the garbage disposal wasn't chained underneath the sink. You just
he could have left.
Yeah, he could have like.
I mean, in that animal's defense, if I took our dog Winston and stuck him and just dumped food through a hole, he would be stoked.
Right, true.
He'd be like 200 pounds
never...
and like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
He would never leave under the sink. He would just make his bed
There's already
there.
a place he can pee right down the pipe. It's
Right?
fine. He'd be happy.
Perfectly designed
Just keep
system.
dumping the food in. It's the one that had to use its head to like go through the rocks. It was
Yes, I know the one you're talking about.
we're gonna tie a rock to your head and use your head to break other rocks.
Oh my God.
The fact that we've gone down this rabbit hole is
It was,
fun.
and it was quick.
It's funny.
We sank down quick.
Well, because it's classic cartoons, man. Like,
I mean, there was killer. If I remember correctly, it was the Flintstones when they were older that had the band. I don't know if there was a band in the initial Flintstones.
yeah, because Pebble and Bam Bam had a band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there had to have been some. I can vividly remember.
It was like a crooner guy, I remember for sure.
Yeah,
right?
so see, that was in the initial Flintstones. So it's music related.
It is. It truly is.
Flintstones.
But this last Halloween's one of those dumb parties that I threw, and it was a freaking blast. I'll never do it again, though, but I did a TV theme song tribute for Halloween, which was really fun, and the Flintstones was in there. But I'll never do it again because it was like 37 songs, and they were all like 45 seconds long each, you know. And he like tried to double them up or whatever, you know. There's only like 5 actual songs in the set list. I was trying to get people to do longer songs. They're like, no, I want to do the Family Ties, you know, thing, whatever. It's like, dude, there's 2 key changes and 19 chords in like a minute and 10 seconds in the song.
Wait,
Damn
so
TV
tell me
fans.
that one of the songs in that set was "Here We Are, Face to Face, a Couple of Silver Spoons." Was it not in there?
Nope.
What?
Didn't make it. Dude, look, I'm telling you, do it as a thought experiment sometime, next time you're bored or whatever. Think of all the songs
There's way too
that
many.
you would put in your ideal hour and a half long set. Send them to me. I'll send you back my final list of options, which are somewhere around 108 bangers.
God.
All of them were amazing. I mean, they were all great choices. Like, every time I would invite somebody to the show, they would be like, yeah, but can I do this one? And it was like one that I didn't already have on my list of 50, you know, and then somebody else would be like, oh, can I do this one? And my list would go to 70, you know? Yeah. And by the end of it, like, I didn't get to do my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I didn't get to do Transformers or G.I. Joe.
What?
All I wanted to do was 3 or 4 Bob's Burgers songs, you know? But yeah, by the end of it, it was a mess, man. A mess.
Damn it.
You have to do like Great American Hero.
Right?
Ooh,
That
that's
was
a
a
good
great
one.
one.
And that's a long one too. Like that's an actual song, I
is.
think. Yeah.
I believe it is.
We did a 7-minute jam with Grace Bowers on the Game of Thrones theme. That was kind of the that was entering into the last bit of it. But yeah, that was a big time filler.
I like that.
I did get to do my Bob's Burgers songs, but yeah, no, I mean there were so many. And Pee Wee had just died. I wanted to do the Pee Wee theme, but nobody else wanted it, and it was incredibly hard because it's like you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, this is like a whole
You need
barbershop.
like an a cappella ensemble with like a
Right.
mouth harp and, you know, recorder. It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything complicated like that, anything with key changes, just strike that right off the list for me. Nope. If I can't play it on a ukulele, it's not happening.
No, I had a couple of like band nerd jazz people helping me, but like, you know, even for the Simpsons theme, it was like, okay, we're breaking this down into like 2 changes, and that's it. You know, and it was still awful. Like Alf Clausen would have rolled over in his grave. I don't know if he's alive or not, and I don't know if he's even a guy who wrote it, but I just remember the credits. He's one of the names.
Oh goodness.
He could done like I'm like stop. I'm like,
See, now you're thinking.
Stop trying to think of
like,
names.
I was just trying to think of
Specific
easy ways to do.
names.
It's like we've done a big star cover. You could have done that 70s. I'm trying to think of stuff that these are full.
That 70s show didn't make the set. We did the Orange is the New Black theme. We did, obviously, we closed with Cheers and Saved by the Bell.
Good ones, yeah.
Did a couple of like the smaller songs from The Simpsons. I'm trying to think of everything else we did, but I can't right now. We did the Baywatch theme. That was
Wow.
Solid.
yeah.
I bet that was fun. I don't
See, I could have
know
done real deep and done Friends First from Saved by the Bell.
how much practicing with those.
I think it'd be good. We need to talk to swimwear department and get them to do the Baywatch thing. They need to throw that in their set.
This should be a good cover for them.
That's got
Stand in the darkness.
yes.
Just like some little interlude in the middle of one of their songs.
Yep.
I could do it.
I'll talk to Ned about that.
They're all bangers. They're all bangers.
Dang it.
You got any lyrics now? Anyway, yeah. No, I mean, I'm playing covers. Like I said, I've just been picking out my covers for this new, picking out new covers for this run I'm about to do. But that was too many of them to learn at once.
Yeah.
Right.
that
So
takes too much practice.
where's your run going to?
Just up to New York and then back down. I kind of do this. You know, I mean, as an independent musician, I really can't afford to do much touring outside of places where I can kind of count on people being there.
Right.
And I've been doing this run at least once a year for the last little bit. But Nashville tomorrow, then DC on Thursday, then Woodstock on Friday, Hoosick Falls on Saturday, then coming back down through Richmond and Asheville.
Okay, that's cool, man.
Just a week, you know.
It's a good little run, man.
1 week out of the house to go see some homies.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. New York is like, that's where I think I have more of a crowd in New York State than I do anywhere in the country. And I get up there any chance I can. So,
Yeah, New York State's beautiful. Like once you get past the New York City, it's like a really beautiful place.
especially in the summer. It's gorgeous in the summer. Like they all think it's hot. It's like 84 degrees. I'm like, this is amazing.
You don't know what hot is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did a run up to Minnesota and back, and like we were up there one night. The low was in the upper 40s, and I'm like, this is summer. This is
Summertime.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Remember, like, standing outside the hotel, like, soak it in, y'all.
Yeah, because it's gonna get hotter.
This drive ends in Kansas. It's going to be hot.
We are about to go 70 degrees hotter.
Yeah,
Right. It's like, just take
Where
it
we
in.
at.
But
Yeah.
after that kind of a break, you can't really complain. So
I can complain about
Yeah.
anything.
no, you can't,
Except
Samuel.
what I can't complain about.
As I used to hear, like, complain that you get hung with a new rope, you know.
Yeah.
right.
All right. Well, all right. I actually gave you no warning for this either, but we're getting close to the,
Oh, sure.
the barricade that ends the run. So there, we do have a last question we ask everybody, but if you listen to the podcast and it's where we
Probably
call you
no.
out and you're like, whoa, I didn't really, that's okay. So this is I listened to like the first 10 minutes. I don't make it to the very end.
No. I listened to 3 episodes all the way through, so I think I know what's coming.
All right. Help.
All right.
Hit them.
All right. So we would like to hear from you. This is the final question. Give us a list of 3 to 5 artists/bands that you feel that need more people to know about them, that you feel strongly about, that people need to be turned on to these groups.
Sure. Well, yeah, this was what I thought about. I didn't actually prepare for it, but I think I can pull it out. So I think I had interpreted something I'd been listening to recently, and recently I've been on kind of a hip hop fix, you know, ever since Drake blessed us all by screwing up and giving us a brand new Kendrick Lamar album. But there's this girl, and she's relatively popular. You know, I don't really understand how numbers work on that end, but her name's Daisha McBride. She's from Nashville. She's a rapper, and most of the people that I know aren't going to know her. So I'm going to start with that. She's amazing. There's another dude who is one of my favorite songwriters in Nashville. His name's Young Minnow, JUNGMIN-NOH. And he is one of the darkest and most sincere, like, Americana folk songwriters that I've ever heard. And yeah, he's brilliant. And nobody except the people that he and I mutually know. or have been lucky enough to really hear him as much as I should. It's kind of an older album, but I've picked it up a few times. And when I say older, I mean, I think it came out last year, maybe 2022, but I don't know. But he's one of my heroes and one of my favorite people back from my hometown in Mississippi, Mark Mann, and his record, Sad Dimension, I would definitely put on that list. Another friend here in town who is a really, really successful songwriter that's kind of taken a little time off and now is putting out his own music and doing other projects in town. But Scott Sachs has a record out that is really good. I've been listening to it a lot lately. That's going to be 4, and I'm going to stick right there because I don't know if I'll be floundering if I try to look for a fifth, so I'm not going to try.
That's a solid list, man.
Sounded good.
Nah, it's stuff worth checking out, man. Like I say, I think it's been working, at least for us. If no one else is checking out these people, then we are.
Do.
So I've been getting turned on to a lot of new stuff this way, so it's been helping us.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. That's cool. I mean, I definitely, I appreciate that you guys do that, and I've got a longer list, but, you try to keep it. If I would have put a fifth person on that list, it would have upset another 12 people that deserve to be in that fifth spot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's bored. Yeah.
Stuck the landing, let it go.
Exactly.
All right, man. Was there anything that we missed? Anything you want to throw in at the end? It's your last chance to sound off. And
no, man, I think you guys will let me plug everything I planned on plugging, the tour, the other release. The rest of it will be forthcoming later on. I really appreciate the conversation.
Oh, man. Thanks for reaching out to us, man. It was fun talking to you.
Heck yeah.
Definitely. Look forward to hearing more.
Well, I loved your logo. I was like, these are
which
people
one?
I could talk to.
Right?
Which one?
The logo for the podcast?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big Todd Farrell fan, so anytime I see him doing something, I'm like, cool, I should do that too.
Yeah, man, we love Todd.
Freaking cool.
All right, Kim.
That was fun. Bye, y'all.
All right, y'all. That does it for this episode, man. As always, tell a friend, post it somewhere, get the word out, help us, grow the podcast, man. Give the people the exposure they deserve. Hope you dug Afton, man. We really enjoyed the conversation. Good dude. I'm hoping he makes it down to the area before long, or we get up close to him. That'd be great, man. Like, we had a blast with this. It's rare that you've never talked to someone before and the conversation just flows. Like, there was 30 minutes of just gabbing before we even hit record. Like, I don't think there was no awkwardness, man. It was a great dude, and we're really happy to have talked to him. Last again, if you want to be on the podcast, hit us up, man. Our really only prerequisite, if you have something recorded and released. Like, that's it. Just we need someone who's far enough in the game to do that, and that's all we're asking for, man. So hit us up and let us know. I think that about does it, man. We'll catch y'all next time with Matt Nielsen from New Haven, Connecticut. We're going to keep with the road show kind of thing, and then we'll be bringing it back home to the Houston area with some interviews we have scheduled as we head into the end of the season. We're on episode 47 now. 52 will be the last one. We may do a 53 to recap. Then we're going to take probably November, December off to regroup and record and, just relax a little bit, man. Not be doing a band jobs and podcasts and all that. So anyway, let's get out of here, man. Y'all don't care about that. So we're going to close it out with Late Night Radio, also from the 23 EP, man. This was my favorite song off the EP, and we hope you dig it like we did, man. And catch y'all next time. Later.
Between the lines, hold on, this will all be over soon. Billboard ads and exit signs hide the careless yellow moon.